Hello, everybody. This is Boxing Bros UK. I'm a host, Chris. This is my co-host, Andrew, the Boxing Brain.
Howdy.
And how we doing? Today is Riffin news. So we're just going to give our views and opinions of all the hot gossip and news that's happening in boxing right now, and we'll riff off each other of like what we think of it. Okay, first bit of news is what Chris Eubank Jr. said at the press conference. We're late to the party, we know, but you know, the cool people don't come on time, do they? They always come late. So let's see what Eubank Jr. had to say.
Boxer? Because every other promoter out here is a scumbag. That's why. You know, we've got Frank Warren behind me, been lying and cheating his way through boxing for the last couple decades. Sued me for a couple $100,000 a few years ago, so obviously I was never going to go with him. You know, the guy's a scumbag. Calais Sauerland, you know, had me locked up.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
Calais Sauerland had me locked up in a terrible contract for the last few years, squeezing money out of me at every opportunity. Scumbag. Eddie Hearn, Frank Smith, you know, they did everything they could to try and make this fight against Conor Ben still go ahead.
This scumbag.
Still go ahead.
Why do you fight Hamza Sharad, scumbag?
After knowing that they, you know, that he was on steroids. Scumbags, you know. I would say the only.
Why do you ask?
I would say the only promoter that I know for sure isn't a scumbag is His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh. You know, this is a man who isn't trying to take money from fighters. He isn't trying to use lawyers and accountants to lock fighters up in slave contracts. You know, he's a man of God. He's a man of religion. That's what's most important to the people.
So, first...
Never gets old watching that, I'll tell you.
We've all heard it, but we're hearing it again. What's your thoughts on that, Andrew, before I go on my rant?
Take of it is, and this is not me wanting to sit on the fence, but I'm in two minds with it. To some degree, what he's talking about is true. We've known this in boxing throughout history. They get tied into contracts, these fight deals they can't get out of. The deals aren't maybe as good as they would like. They suit the promoter more. It's a business policy. To a degree, I'm not questioning the integrity of Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn here. That's I would have known enough to know that. But I'm sure there's an element of truth to what he's saying. But the problem is, Chris, using that platform, and I just think the timing was off. It was just needlessly inflammatory. I don't know. I'm really in two minds of it, because on one hand I can sort of understand where he's coming from, but secondly, was it entirely necessary? Probably not, and it's only going to harm him more, I think. So, what's your kind of thoughts around this, Chris?
So, I like Chris Eubank Jr. as a fighter. Like, I think he's funny in press conferences. I like he's the heel. I like the guy. But I think what he said there was wrong, wrong. Number one, yeah, if it goes to court and you lose, yeah, so you've done something wrong, yeah, and you've lost. So how can someone be a scumbag when they went through the proper procedures and took you to court and won? So that means no one's a scumbag. You did something that wasn't right, that was against the law, whatever you did, I don't know what it was, and you had to pay the Frank Warren the restitutions for what you did. That's the law. It doesn't mean that he's a scumbag or whatever, just because if you do something wrong, it's not the 80s. Or Frank Warren used to be a geezer back in the day. He'll break your legs. Standing around with the governor, but and then
underground
Secondly,
boxing.
yeah, that's it. And secondly, I hate it. Not this is just a bit a little more. I hate it, not just in boxing, even like footballers. Never, ever say that you're in a slave contract when you're earning five
Yeah,
times
that.
more than people earn in a year
Yeah.
and crying about it. And don't like, especially a black person as well, with Christian Mac Jr. or mixed race. It's really distasteful. You're forgetting about your history and what slaves went through. Like, it's not a joke. Like, you shouldn't say that. Like, oh, it's a slave contracts when you're earning
Bad
millions.
look. Yeah, it's a
Like, it's
bad look.
very, very distasteful, very wrong. He should never have. He should never have said that. And like, I don't think they're. Or no one's scumbags. If you didn't like the contract that you was in, don't sign it. You signed it because probably at the time when you signed with Sauerland, no one really wanted you. No one was offering you any big money. So he was offering you something all right. So you signed it quick time. And then once you had the fight with Liam Smith and you're getting your buzz back again and all the buzz with Conor Bear big money, then you thought, nah, I don't want this contract no more. But if you don't like it, buy yourself out of it. Don't start crying about slave contracts and calling people scumbags. Like Floyd Mayweather, he was in a contract with, I think, was it Bob Arum? What did he do? He bought himself out of it. He kept his mouth shut, got his head down, got the big fights, got in big fights, and bought himself out of his contract. And that's what Coley had to do. We got Ben Shalom to buy him out of his contract when he signed it.
Yeah.
That's what you do. If you signed it, you don't like it. It's like when you get a contract phone. I don't like this phone. I want a new one, or I want a better contract. You've got to pay for the contract because it's 2 years before you get a new one. If you want your upgrade early, it's very simple. So if you don't like it, you should have signed it. As simple as that. Yeah, it might not have been a fair contract. Yeah,
It's a
it might
poor
not have been a
choice of
fair
word.
for sure, but it might not be a fair contract. But you signed it, so like I don't understand. If you didn't like it, why did you sign it? But this point is something to remember for the next part. Yeah, his team mustn't have read the contract properly and not told him all the small prints. Miscommunication. That's what Eubank Jr. is saying on Frank Warren. I don't know how true it is. So the next bit, what we're going to look, basically, Frank Warren and Chris Eubank Jr. had to apologise to each other. So we'll find out how that went in Frank Warren's interview.
I'm not going to
Good
go
old
into
fish
what
eyes.
happened at the press conference, but we've seen statements from Chris Eubank Jr. and yourself, essentially both apologising. So how did this all get resolved, Frank?
Well, it's the apology that it resolved because he was in a terrible position as regarded being sued by me. I'd already had a successful case against him in the past, which was which I won, and he had to pay substantial damages and costs for. And this was and this would probably go the same way, but it has been rectified. He's made an apology. And the reason I apologise because I said at the time that there's two ways for a fighter not to take a fight. One, that is you say I don't want to fight, and two, you price yourself out of it. And subsequently told me, I said to him that you've been offered, I think we started off 7 or 5 million. Well, you'd asked for that, you've been offered that, and for a fight against Hamza, and you didn't want to know. You didn't want to know. And he looked at me and he said, "I've never been told it was that amount of money." I said, "Well, your connections had been." So I said, "If you didn't know that, then obviously, that's not down to me. That's down to people not giving you that, giving you the offer that was made." So I said, "So that's where we are. That's what happened."
But I guess we just move on from that, and he's going to fight on the Riyadh season bill October 12th.
He's fighting. He'll fight on the Riyadh season. He's made an apology, and that's the position at the moment. He's got his people and his advisors around him who I was unaware of. Who was advising him. That's it. That's his business.
Okay, but it all got rectified very quickly on that night.
Yeah, there was a lot of words were said. I mean, because I couldn't hear, because where we were sitting on the platform, the speakers are in the front.
You
so
was
you
behind
don't
it. Yeah.
don't get it. You know what I mean? So you don't hit. So I was behind him. But I heard a couple of words, and then I heard because he turned. I don't know how he turned his head or whether, and I heard him make a reference to that one of I think it might have been Cali, and that was it. And then I think Eddie said he's called us this and whatever, but I'd never heard all of it. And I think it may be yourself who told me afterwards what had been said. So I can assure you, I wasn't too shy in telling him to his face and to his people who were with him, you know, what I felt.
So what do you make of that?
Well, yeah. Well, one of my thoughts was as well, and I don't know whether this is just pure me speculating, whether Chris Eubank Jr. has been out of the game for a little while since Liam Smith fight. Is this a part of him just trying to? Because you know it's all over YouTube. We're all talking about it even now. Is this just part? Because he's using really inappropriate language, and I don't think when he's sort of saying slave contract, I almost don't think he's thinking about what he's saying. But I just wonder whether
For
he's
sure.
partly creating drama, Chris, just to make himself relevant. You know, because boxing's kind of gone to another level. He wants to be a part of that. He's 34 now. For me, it seems
Yeah.
a little bit of kind of he's wanting to be a little bit outrageous on purpose. But that's just a feeling I'm getting.
Do you know what? You could be right because, like that's what Tyson Fury used to do as well, didn't he? Just say stupid things just to get his
Yeah,
name out. Like when he was up and coming before he fought
yeah,
Klitschko, he was always saying daft things,
you have to,
like
don't
just to
you?
keep yourself. He still does it now. He still, but like maybe you're right because one thing I'd say, obviously when we was at the presser, we met Eubank Junior's manager,
We did,
didn't we?
we did.
And like, I'm a good judge of character. Like, he was a very nice man, seemed very
Lovely.
honest. Like, he seemed very honest, like straight up geezer. So I can't imagine Frank Warren offering Eubank Jr. 5 million and him not telling him, yo, you've been offered 5 or 7 million or whatever it was. I can't see
Yeah,
it. I really can't see
yeah.
it. So
That's a
I
strange
think
one.
maybe Eubank Jr. didn't want the fight, and he maybe was a bit flustered, like because it's not the right time or whatever. He's been out. This is a young, hungry lion, whatever. I think maybe he just got flustered in the press conference. This is me just speculated, mate, and just didn't know what to say. So he said, "Oh, they didn't tell me about the 5 million because he couldn't think fast enough of a good excuse to not make it look like he's Dutchian or whatever." Or someone else in the team got the offer because Frank Warren said, oh, I don't know who's who. So maybe they gave it to someone who wasn't the manager and they were trying to pull some funny shenanigans. And that's another video for another day. Maybe he's got someone bent in his camp trying to rob him, like one of his team.
It's a lot of moving parts to this, Chris, isn't there? Because there's history, and I don't know all of the history, but there's some history going on here. And then we obviously saw the whole thing with Chris Eubank Jr. joining Boxer and Ben Shalom as a partnership deal because Eubank Jr. wants more say in it. But I'd like to know if ever we bump into Chris Eubank Jr.'s manager again, it'd be interesting to get his take on it. You know, I would be interested to know if he knew he was going to say it or what was going on. But look, Chris Eubank Jr., he's obviously frustrated, right? But like you alluded to earlier, it's difficult to have sympathy from someone complaining about contracts when you're driving around in fucking Lambos, and you know, it's not gonna resonate in maybe the way you would like it to, if you see where I'm going.
Yeah, it's like we're the working class. So we're like, and we're watching sport for entertainment, enjoyment. So when the athletes are complaining about money and saying that they're slaves, and then you've got someone who's working 3 jobs trying to support their family, like, they don't want to hear no, I'm in a slave contract shit. You know, we don't want to hear that. It's like when Wayne Rooney was getting booed, and his wife, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's great. Your old fans are booing you." And it's like, well, you're playing fucking shit, and you're on $500,000 a week. What do you expect?
for the biggest club in the world, other than Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Man United, the biggest club.
So
I think
yeah, we
this
are
is the
fucking
issue,
booing
isn't it?
you.
That's the issue. We've got elite sportsmen. Yeah, look, and I get it from their frame of reference. If they're earning half what they should be earning, I understand the frustration. I'm not saying I don't get it. I'm not stupid. I'm just saying on that platform, you're on part of the massive undercard. You're a big draw. You got Bivol Baturbiev. You're a massive Riyadh card. I don't know whether that was maybe the time to voice it, but at the same time, everyone's maybe going to be tuning into the Sheremeter fight. Look, there's no danger of him losing that, but a lot of people will be tuning in hoping he loses now. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
No,
he's promoted himself well in that respect. You could argue it's a bit of genius promotion. So,
like his dad was brilliant at it. Floyd Mayweather was brilliant at it. Making people hate you. Muhammad Ali was brilliant. Making people hate you so
yeah,
much that
Canelo.
everyone watches you and comes to your fights to see you lose. Yeah, Canelo's only just started to do it.
Just started. Yeah.
Just started,
It
and
could
he's at
be.
the end of his career. But like
Multiple angles,
Mayweather
but
was a
I'd like
champion.
to, anyone in the comments, all our main subscribers, let us know, because we have certain people that voice their opinion. You know, tell us what you think. If you think something completely different to me and Chris, or you know a little bit more, let us know.
Yeah, that's it for sure. Because and like I can't see his manager not telling him the truth about the deal. So maybe he didn't get that offer, or maybe he got flustered, or maybe someone else did, or maybe Eubank Jr. did get the offer and is thinking on his feet to duck it, whatever. There's so many things to know.
Oh,
Who knows what the truth is? Give us your opinions in the comment. Let's go on to the next bit of news. So the Shaquille Thompson cards. Is it Shaquille? What's his name? Shaq.
Oh,
Shaquille.
yeah. Thompson, Shaq Thompson versus River.
That's it. Yeah. So basically, there was a card on Channel 5. It's a bit low key, but there was 3 big fights on there that we're going to talk about. The rest of them, like, we haven't got time to squeeze it in this video. They're just like prospects or whatever. But anyway, Shaquille, we'll start with him. Yeah, he did what he's supposed to do. He looked really, really good. Showed that he's got a heart. Showed he's got power. Showed he's the business. And didn't call anyone out, but just said he wants all the smoke. Who do you think he should fight next?
Yeah, I'll just quickly riff off just what you were saying there. I think, good. Is it is it GMB? Isn't it the new? Is it GMB?
The new GMB with
good,
Asif as the promoter. They're doing good things.
Yeah,
They're doing good things.
I've heard good things about it. You know, trying to kind of modernise it, but in the kind of small hall shows, but modernise it, and I think that's kind of going in a good direction, and I thought it was a good event. Rivers, he's a decent guy. When he decent amateur, I think he lost to Shiraz and Anto Williams. He just looked completely overawed as soon as he felt the power of Williams. There are multiple knockdowns when they showed a lot of heart. Fair play to him, but this kid Williams, Shaq, Thompson, Shaq Thompson. He looks the part. He's only had 13 fights. I wouldn't want to move him too quickly, but I think another, that middleweight division is kind of anyone's really outside of Shiraz and maybe one or two others. But I think a fairly high-profile domestic dust-up for Thompson next.
For sure.
In and around that sort of Heaney level, British.
Yeah,
he's
Brad Pauls.
British. Yeah, Brad Pauls for a British title. I think because River's no mug. He was a good amateur, River, and it hasn't quite worked out in the pro game, which sometimes happens, Chris, doesn't it? But
yeah, of course.
I think he looks like a bit of a prospect. That guy. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But I won't move him on too quickly because he's not a full-time boxer yet. So he's still going to work, as he said at the end of the fight. Like, he's still going to his 9 to 5 and boxing kind of part-time. But for me, this is what I would do. I'd take in traditional route. So I'd take him to go for, they want an English title next. Whoever's got that at middleweight, I don't know who it is. Then after that, go for the British title. If it's still Brad Paul's and he don't want to fight you, you make sure that you're mandatory for it. Fight whoever you need to make yourself mandatory for it. And if he don't want to fight you, then let him vacate and take the British title, defend it 3 times, European, and then move on to world honor. Just to the traditional route. That's what I think he should do, because obviously he needs to like a bit more seasoning, because he's
a bit more
still like a part-time boxer. You can't just like be boxing part-time and then start trying to fight killers at British level, because Brad Paul's ain't a mug.
I agree. We just need to see a little bit more of him. A few more fights. He's only had 13 fights. We just need to see a little bit more. So agree with that.
Next one, Maxi Hughes.
I love him.
He got a knockout. Man. I love Maxi Hughes. The thing about Maxi Hughes is, I don't really like his style of fighting, but because I love the guy and his story, I don't want him to lose. So I'm on the edge of because I'm a fan of his. I really get involved in the fights, even though I don't normally like that. If anyone else was fighting that kind of way, I wouldn't be interested. But because he's such a geezer, like I'm always rooting for him and get involved in his fights. Like I don't want him to lose.
He's got that kind of rocky thing about him, isn't he? Just never say die. He's had an Indian summer himself, a bit like Kakashi, former IBO and British champion, and against the odds as well, and fighting the Greek god, they call him. It's an interesting nickname, and it was really competitive up until the knockout. And Maxi Hughes he's not really known as a puncher. I think he's got about 8 KOs, 9 KOs, something like that. He's not. But he caught him with a really good shot. You could tell he really buzzed Antonis, who's no mug. Antonis, he's a decent guy. Caught him, and you could tell like he never really recovered from it. Then caught him again, and I think the ref looked at him, didn't he, and said, and didn't. That was it. Called it off. But really pleased for him, because he's lost to. He's lost to good guys, Maxi Hughes, and he lost to, I think it was Liam Walsh back in the day. But I think he lost a very controversial loss to Cambosis. That was close from what I remember.
Just a quick shout out. Liam Walsh's brother, Ryan Walsh, knocked someone out. Indian saw on that card as well.
Yeah. I think he fought Zapida as well, didn't he? And Zapida's he's a proper guy as well. So
fought Tank Davis as well, didn't he, back in the day? Or was it Liam? One of them brothers fought Tank Davis and got starched.
Yeah, I was about 27. I think Tank was about fucking 18, really, 19. Yeah, it was a while ago, that one. Good fight, good win.
That's it. So what's next for him? He's a lightweight, right?
Yeah, well, I was looking at... it's a difficult one, because it was a 6th round. He's looking to rebuild again a little bit. He's 34 now, but he looks like he's still got... did I say, was Josh Warrington in his corner, or was I hallucinating?
No, he was. I think he was there supporting him. I think there was loads of people there at that event.
Yeah, I saw that, because I didn't know. Maybe that's a recent introduction. I don't know. Someone tell us if that's not the case. I don't know. You kind of think, I don't know, Mark Chamberlain, right? Maybe, you Josh Padley,
Mark Chamberlain, that's a good fight.
Cordina, I don't know. Cordina's a little bit of a level above, I think.
I wouldn't fight Josh Padley, but I don't know. I'd give him a go.
But I don't think he's going to get him with Sam Noakes.
No, because he doesn't really make lots of money, Maxi Hughes, does he, on the big stage? I think he should try and rematch Cambosis, but Cambosis won't want that smoke. I don't think, because he got outboxed. He lost. That was a robbery. That was a bad decision.
Oh, it was. But I think Noakes is the British champ, isn't he? And Maxi Hughes has got to kind of bring himself back in. It'd be interesting to know what his aspiration and ambitions are, because obviously he's 34. What are his ambitions? Does he want to kind of be a 2-time? What would it be? A 2-time British champion? Maybe that.
No, he was the IBO champion. He's the IBO champion.
former IBO champ. It all depends on what his ambition is. I think he needs a few more fights to put
Yeah,
himself
for
in
sure.
line again and work back up the rankings if he wants to put in that work. But
Yeah.
you can't not like him, can you, Chris? Like he's a
No.
worker, and
He's a hard
he tries
worker,
his
and
hardest.
for sure. I think what he wants the Cambosos rematch. And he called him out after the fight. He really wants that rematch bad, but I don't think he'll get it.
I saw
But
that.
like you say, if he don't get it, then Chamberlain, that's a great fight for him. And for Chamberlain, if you can't beat Maxi Hughes, you're finished. You
I like
need to
that fight.
not finish. That's
Yeah.
I do as well. And,
I like
and
that
then,
fight.
yeah, that's a good fight for him. Cambosos rematch or Chamberlain, whatever the
Yeah.
weather. Like,
Yeah,
that's it
whatever
for
the
him.
weather.
Or
Yeah,
he can step in and fight Tank.
yeah, why not? Yeah, no, maybe not.
He's around that weight class, but yeah, that'll be a hard night for him.